Welcome back, everyone. It is time for Game 3 between Team Envy and Team Dignitas. Both these games, the first 15 to 25 minutes, had gone in Team Dignitas' favor. The first one, though, was a comeback win for Envy. The double tank, very heavy frontline, double marksman worked for them. The second one, though, Team Dignitas didn't give them that option to scale into late game. They closed it out in about 26 minutes.
Yeah, and ending it off with the pentakill is a very nice nod to Altec, even though he's wondering what he's got to do to get a player of the game, because someday ended up getting the reward in the first matchup.
Yeah.
But a lot of the fights were initiated by Someday, and Tristana does tend to clean up those team fights very well. It's not like Altec played bad in that game. Deathless, pentakill right at the end, did everything he needed to do as far as demolition of the turrets. And Team Dignitas knew they just needed to kind of get to that point where they could get the one small advantage over Envy, because they had so many more tools within their team composition with which to succeed.
I absolutely agree. It was a well-played game for Team Dignitas, and it's very interesting because I think it's been an upward trend for this squad. I think Team Dignitas are a very good team, right? There's a reason they were 5-1 by the end of that third week there. They just had a pretty rough run for a while, including, again, the throw in Game 1 here in this series, the back-to-back-to-back match losses overall. But the question has always kind of been, does this... Initially, it was like, oh, there's like a top 3 or a top 5, and Dignitas were in that conversation. And then when you saw them lose to FlyQuest, you're like, okay, maybe it's a top 4. They're cut off. They're no longer part of the elite group anymore. And the question is sort of, how good really are they? Do they deserve to be an A-tier team, or are they just a struggling, hope to make playoffs and lose in quarterfinals kind of squad? Envy kind of in the same boat, where they were a playoff team the first time, then they were the last place team, then they look good again, and then they've fallen back down to being 4-5, and you kind of wonder what form this team really has.
Yeah, and you wonder what team they aspire to be or can be, because they've been these middling teams for so long. At least out of this series, it looks like they are who we thought they were, right? They need to compete for each other for these middle spots so they can at least get a seat at the table in the playoffs, because this is the 5th and the 6th place team. You have teams like FlyQuest, who were 4th place last split, who did make the playoffs, who started weak, but just had a 2-0 week. Same with Phoenix 1. Came into the week with 1 win, ended it with 3. So those 5th and 6th spots, teams are gunning for it, right? You have to take care of business down the stretch here if you want to remain a playoff team. And at 1-1, Team Dignitas, I feel like if you looked at the percentage of game time they have been winning this series, it's probably around 80 to 90%. Right. So I think they're pretty strong favorites coming into the third game here.
They are, but we'll see if that can be turned back around. Of course, we know Envy are no slouches themselves. Lyra has been a beast in the jungle most of the time, and Apollo has usually been winning lanes more often than not. And maybe they can actually keep an early game lead for themselves. It's just kind of up to who can outplay whom. And I want to see also if the composition sort of changed, because we've had, not identical, but very similar comps for both these games. Envy running double marksman. They just had less tanks second time around because of clever drafting from Team Dignitas. And Dig have been doing the same things as well, where they've been giving Someday a counter pick, putting him on a fighter against the Shen. They've been going Orianna back-to-back. And the one adaptation really was, okay, well, Altec's going to play Triss instead of Jhin. And I kind of want to see if they look for further removed looks, or if Dig's like, yep, this is our formula. Let's try it one more time.
Yeah, I think it all depends on whether or not Envy is willing to adapt. Because I think Team Dignitas found the answer to what Envy threw at them in Game 1, and they will just keep the same answer if the questions on the test don't change.
Sure.
So Envy are the ones who need to start mixing it up. As I say that, Team Dignitas bans the Elise anyway, so it's naturally going to get mixed up. But we shall see.
We shall see. And I believe the Elise had won every single game so far this series, even if she wasn't the primary reason why. Looks good enough. Those double jungle bans so far for Team Dignitas means they have not yet removed Braum. And it feels like Envy are happy to play that champion, so Galliard removes the big tank off from Someday. Caitlyn not banned yet. You think you have to get rid of that, and they do. Now you got to see what they really want to go for here.
Yeah, and I know this seems absurd, but I was going to say to you, first pick Braum. Instead, they first pick Thresh, even though they still could have the Braum double marksman composition going with them. But the Thresh does create a lot of playmaking opportunities if Envy is going to switch the story, which the Thresh speaks towards doing that. More roaming, more picks, and a different game style.
We'll see if that different game style looks good here. Team Dignitas with the Elise up the table. Going to first pick instead themselves that Lee Sin. Shrimp showing pretty obviously what his priority tier list is. If it's not Elise, it's the Lee Sin. Same for kind of both these games so far this series. All three, I should say. They got to pick up one more champion. Will they match supports here early on? Will they blind the Jhin like they had before? Got to wait to see.
Yeah, I hope they don't go Jhin. I feel like Seraph can still pick Shen and be that frontline in the late game, and it gives Envy that opportunity to kind of outscale.
Back On the Rakan, all right. Of course, it's not a takeaway pick. Thrush already locked in, but still want that champion as the go-to support. Again, I think Rakan is good into Thresh, even though Flay you'd think would work, but it just doesn't. It's not really fast enough. Humans aren't fast enough to block those skills out. Envy might change their own styles up as well. Now that they've got the Thresh, maybe the Kalista makes more sense. Wait to see what they go for.
They hovered a lot of picks right there and ended up going with the Rakan, potentially to Nye from Altec, but also because this is now the third game in a row in which Apollo plays it. But it did remind me of that Taliyah, which I'm glad that they locked in, because this was the early season Envy money pick. They get the Taliyah, and Pyrion would actually give them the mid to late game victories with great wall usage and good laning. And that's something, instead of just sitting around and waiting for the game to happen, they take the game and take it where they want to take it. So I like that they locked that in early.
It's interesting as well, seeing the desynced roles here coming in, as Team Dignitas going to match Marksman down there, but of course they can't match mid laners as well. Team Envy waiting to go, waiting a while actually for the jungle pickup, and I honestly think that behind the Zac, I think almost everything else is of very similar power levels. You have a lot of ways to go. You had, Cloud9 with the game-winning Nunu, which we're seeing, nowhere from anyone else. There's a lot kind of right underneath that surface that a lot of teams are willing to go for. But it means that Envy likely to receive lots of jungle bans. Team Dignitas likely to receive some mid lane bans. If they're worried about Taliyah kind of pick for right now, it's actually Fiora away from Someday first.
Yeah, and you would expect a Rek'Sai ban here, but I don't want them to ban Rek'Sai because I'm just so unimpressed by Rek'Sai in pro play since the return. The tank build falls off super hard late game. So does the warrior build, right? You just take it late. And Envy hasn't been able to push any tempo early, so I'd almost want him on that pick. And instead, they go ahead and ban the Renekton, which I think is the right call.
Removing a blind top lane pick from Envy, saying, go ahead, play this Shen again. We've got an answer for us. You saw the Kled last time, so they'll beat you one more time. Team Dignitas, will they go for the mid lane answer? They get to counterpick mid with literally just Orianna ban, and then counterpick top lane with just a Fiora ban.
Yeah, so they kind of get a lot of different options here, and that's why I think they banned the Renekton right there, because they don't want to give Envy the most generic top laner that doesn't have that many bad matchups. They want a chance to react to both of Envy's solo lanes, which they're going to get now. Cassiopeia against Taliyah. Now Envy has to lock in bot laner and top laner.
Yeah, jungle here for themselves.
Sorry, jungle.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I've made that mistake many times myself. And ooh, maybe it actually will be the Nunu hovering it. More buffs to the Xayah. So they're waiting to go. What does Lyra want to play, and what does Seraph want to play? Taking their time. And actually, Graves. So you mentioned Envy's not taking it very early. Why not pick more scaling? Now, there's no front line yet. They still need to tank up there, but maybe it's the third straight Shen game to give them that.
Yeah, and Graves was one of Lyra's go-to picks in the spring. It's been heavily nerfed since then. He no longer gets magic resist from his quick drop stacking up over and over again. And against Cassiopeia, that can be pretty dangerous. But yeah, they do go with something pretty much completely different now. Jarvan in the top lane, a no CC jungler or low CC jungler in Graves, and Taliyah for playmaking around the map.
Well, they do have four decent sources of crowd control. Thresh, Taliyah, Xayah, and Jarvan, all pretty reasonable at providing utility to the squad. Pretty physical damage heavy, but they've got armor shred out of the likely black cleaver of the, and top lane in general, but also out of the Graves. So might be okay to go triple physical damage here. Shen gonna be grabbed for Someday back on a tank. Very much a team fighter. Now, interestingly, Someday wanted to play Jarvan into Shen in the first game, now opting into Shen versus Jarvan here.
Yeah, I just think that's cute, right, at the end. They have a lot of shields they can now add to the Cassiopeia and the Tristana. Really interested to see how this matchup plays, because I feel like Seraph did a lot of work harassing down Someday's Jarvan. Maybe Someday either sees it a different way or just picking straight for the team composition. It does look like a matchup that can go either way at this point.
Right.
I think the Jarvan is favored. I like that pick more, but we saw Shen win, and we now see Someday pick it into the Jarvan.
We'll see what happens here. This one, the final game of the week for both these teams, and it will be a 2-week break for both, of course. Next week's going to be Rift Rivals as Phoenix1, TSM, and Cloud9 head over to Berlin to battle. Two of those teams already there, actually. I saw them tweet out pictures from the airport, from their hotel and whatnot, but it's all about Team Envy and Team Dignitas hoping to end Week 5 on a good note. We'll see them again in about 13 days afterwards. You can see the lineups on your screen, their final game. See who can move up, who can move down. Both these teams could be 5-5, or Dig could improve to 6-4 if they can make it happen.
Yeah, and Team Dignitas starting the split 5-1. it would just be so demoralizing to then dip to 5-5, and they would really have to search and find themselves. Whereas Envy is another team that did start to split relatively well, not quite 5-1, but have still been stumbling a little bit lately. So game 3 in a series like this against a worthy adversary, both these teams very close to each other, goes a long way towards the second half of the split.
Absolutely. It's actually surprising to me that Envy is 4-5. They handed Immortals one of their only 2 losses. One of them being to Envy, the other being to TSM. Like, those are, you know, good. Unless I'm wrong about something, I'm pretty sure those were their 2 losses here for the Immortals
coming into
squad.
today, yeah, because Immortals also lost to Phoenix 1 today, so.
You're right. Sorry, I forgot about that one. My bad. For some reason, I blanked, even though I literally interviewed Mike Young about that win. So, Freak is smart, but either way, handing one of their very few losses here on this one, and we'll see if Envy can come back to form here, because that earlier win had made them look very sharp. 2,500 for both these squads, waiting for minions to spawn, and this time it's going to be a bit of a deeper invade. Envy going to look for an aggressive trinket. Seraph, I'm not sure if you actually hear sound effects if your Q hits in the fog of war, but Seraph clearly thinks you do. I'm not a good enough Jarvan player or flame enough to know.
Wanted to scare him off, man.
Maybe.
The bugs that were waiting in there. Got a giant
Impale him.
Demacian standard flying over their heads.
He's just cutting the grass. He's tired of Garen's crap. He's like, I'm going to check. You know, he hides and brushes all enough. Hanging around Demacia. Okay, that was bad. Either way, minions have spawned. Let's see what kind of invades and what kind of jungle starts we get. Lyra going to be... I want to see if he starts Q or E. I've seen both.
For Graves?
Yeah, I've actually seen both work reasonably well. The extra armor and the attack reset is actually not terrible for starting Raptors, but he is going to. And
Anyways, the AoE seems like the right call, and it's another one of these huge leashes where he's going to be supercharged. And this is even more interesting now because they got the ward into the Raptors of Shrimp, so we can kind of surmise where he's starting. Shrimp doing the early level 2, and now the question is he able to sneak around this ward and do an early gank?
I think that would see him. I think so. He's
no
moving
one
on towards
pinged
the blue.
him out, though, so I'm curious if Pyrian actually did see him. Otherwise, you usually see on the way pings. Trying to rush this blue buff, but Lyra is on the way.
Well, he saved Smite, but both of them did. Quick knock up there in the bot lane.
There.
Yeah, they're doing battle right here, so you got to watch this as Big is losing half his health bar here.
Did he skip it? Did Lyra
Yeah.
skip the blue buff over there?
Lyra went the other way, and Shrimp's going to sneak out the blue under his nose. Lyra actually waiting for the scuttle to spawn, and he thought he was going to have something clever happen. It's not going to be the case.
Right, Lyra's trying to do the quick level 3 into wraparound gank or into red buff steal. Ooh, he has been mighty mind game out by Shrimp right here. He didn't expect Shrimp to start on that side after the ward went down. I'm going to say they definitely didn't see him on the ward on the way back, and now Pyrian's in for a surprise.
Lanneling the Q, look at the damage up, but 300 health left on him. He's running towards his graves. There's a flash to follow. The slow is in. Shrimp can make this happen. Pyrian's got no sums left. He's got summon or heal, though. Here comes Shen. Something buys a bit of time. Once again, in as Shrimp, and here's the double knockup. They want to knock him down. First blood comes to Cassiopeia. Cover the rest of the fight, though. It's a 2v3. Level 3 Graves looking for the damage up of his Seraph. Just running out of health. Keen with the auto attack. Just throws a snake at him, gets the kill, and now Lyra's next up. 3 kills early game for Team Dignitas.
And that is such a tilter for Envy. They took the fight. No one on Team Dignitas would seem to die. Both mid laners having heal, the bait happens, and just the whole thing that's set up to this. Just Shrimp working around the wards and the super pull from Lyra, but Lyra guesses totally wrong. Shrimp finds him by surprise, and then the extension of this play just kind of makes things from bad to worse because Envy think they can save him. Pyrian then also survives for so long, but it barely ticks out on Pyrian for damage. That makes it a clean 2 for 3. Seraph is still level 2 and burns all his cooldowns early. And then they finish off Lyra at the backside because there's only so much a level 3 Graves can do. It's about as bad as things can go, especially when they could have gone so well.
They could have.
If Lyra just runs to blue, there's a level 2 Lee Sin there, you can blast him.
Yeah.
If Shrimp goes a little bit more to the side and gets spotted by the ward, none of that happens either, right? It just really unfortunate series of circumstances for Envy, but Team Dignitas massively beneficial from there. 2 kills onto Keen and refresh double buffs on Shrimp.
2 kills on the team. NALCS 2 on the stream. Lots of 2s here on this one. 2 kills for Keen. And let's see who comes into this one. 1,300 gold lead here. Seraph gets the knock up and runs away. Has a small lead early on. As we mentioned, Jarvan seems to have a nice time with the matchup. Grasp pretty common on Jarvan as well. He seems like he plays a bit more like a tank despite his item build and helps with the sustain. Slow enough auto attacker anyway. Let's see what comes in next into this one. 1,400 gold. Team Dignitas now, can they ride this advantage up? I mean, very frequently you'll hear players after the game will say, after those 3 kills it was over. It was a guaranteed game win, and I never quite believed that. Obviously, Team Dignitas have the tools. If they play it right, it's going to feel very stifling.
Right.
I just want to see if it actually comes true here in this one and how well they can keep this gold lead up. Because, for example, the bot lane is untouched by this. They're just battling a 2-on-2 for now and hoping they can skill into team fights. But if Keen or Shrimp just bodies everyone, then those kills really do matter.
Yeah, and if looking at the big picture, right, Team Dignitas doesn't need to rush any of this. They have a Cassiopeia who picked up 2 kills, and they still have the late game scaling Tristana. But as far as what are the 3 kills doing right now, and is the game really over, Apollo and Hakuo still have that CS lead. There's is the health crystal really what's pushing the Shen over the top in the top lane? Like, are you really saying if there's a 2-man gank up there that it's impossible to win? No, there are still things you can do, but it obviously makes life a lot more difficult since pretty much everyone on Team Dignitas now just has more stats.
You have more stats, it makes it more difficult to win, but we'll see if more comes through on this one. Bot lane still going back and forth. Apollo once again with the farm lead here. Another battle. Seraph just really getting chunked out. Someday doing a great job now with the dodge zone, and TP is down, so Seraph can't easily sustain back up through this. Someday turning this one back around pretty nicely. And Seraph was to play a bit farther back here. The Doran shield clearly helping a bit. Corrupting Potion is stacked out. Ako a nice little bind right there, but not some damage towards Big.
Yeah.
Waiting. Double longsword. You can see some of it paying off for the fact that he has more items. And actually, interestingly, rushed red smite, which is super atypical on Lee Sin, but we're watching the bot lane first, though. Big gonna run back and forth. No Blade Color to come in just yet. Not major damage. So less ward hopping tools for Shrimp, but way more dueling power. Want to see how it goes. He's got some teammates with him. Here's the ward hop over with the trinket. Lyra against his turret, though, is going to stay alive. And actually, it's Hakuho in the bot lane. They found the advantage. Envy got something off a nice hook on Mashur.
Yeah, and I mean, Shen ult was used for nothing. Wouldn't it have been nice for the trade down on the bottom side? A little bit of over-eagerness by Someday and Shrimp, thinking they could catch Lyra by surprise, but quick little swing back by Envy.
Okay, and maybe brings it a bit closer. Only 700 gold apart. They could certainly do it still. Watch this fight.
Yeah, Shen ult had just been used as the hook lands. And that's all she wrote. Big was low, so in the duration of the hook, Apollo gets the burst off, and Hakuo takes him down with the knife.
Nice play there. Of course, a great hook. Big maybe shouldn't have hugged the same side of the lane that Thresh was on, but regardless, it was a good hook to make it happen. Tyrion getting his blue buff. Looks like Shrimp has been unable to live inside of Lyra's jungle. He tried with the penalty to get the dive. Didn't happen, and it meant the blue buff stayed safe. The game now within striking distance once again. Team Envy can hope to win through this bot lane, maybe. Tyrion holding up as well as he can against that 2-kill Keen. Yeah, the tier is stacking early. The catalyst already done. Certainly Keen is scaling nicely. See what comes in, though.
Shrimp goes Sightstone, so
okay.
Just going to use that for extra ward jumping. Kind of a throwback build. I think most junglers kind of agreed the Tracker's Knife was superior to Combat Smite plus Sightstone.
Yeah.
But Shrimp will be able to get extra wards out of that, and if Lyra duels him, technically has the damage reduction.
Right. That's what I think the situation is. It feels like it's a matchup thing, where he's like, I need this to duel the enemy jungler, Graves with a lot of damage. Or it's a snowball thing, where I'm ahead, I want red smite, I can afford Sightstone later.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact rationale is. I'm sure there's plenty of very good junglers on Twitter talking about the reason why.
Yeah, or why not as well,
Sure.
because my theory on this, I have done a fair bit of thinking about it, right? If he needs combat power to duel, he'll be better off with a warrior completed and a warding smite than he will be with a challenging smite and no warrior completed.
Ooh, here comes the hook, the play back in. They found Altec. Here comes the Blade Caller. There's no way out. Oh, Altec! That was sick as hell, but here comes Period. It doesn't even matter. It was almost amazing, and how Big is going to die for this one. A nice play. Blade Caller in. Apollo getting himself a kill as well.
Yeah, you can shoot him into the turret, but the turret does not insta-kill them. They're still there to kill you back, and he ends up burning Flash, and both of them go down. Very cute idea.
Sadly, Period was coming.
Yeah, sadly there were more people there. That's the Talia kicking in.
This is sleeping, and now running away, though. Keen wants him. He's got the haste. He's going to land. No, he dodges the Q.
Whoa.
No more haste to be had, and Keen going to go away from the turret.
Yeah, and we talk about, hey, after those first 3 kills, it's over. Or is it? Because they're now up 1,500 gold after the disaster that happened 3 minutes in. Take the ball lane turret down.
A-tier 80 carries at work. Look at this hook. Apollo getting the damage.
Yeah, play into the box. I mean, he was pretty much dead regardless. But Big then also cut off by the wall. So I don't think much Altec really could have done to survive that since he was the one that gets hooked.
Yeah. Not like this. You heard him yell at the very end. Unfortunate case. And again, yeah, it was the top side of the map that got the 3 kills. Envy finding their advantages in the bottom side right here and dragging themselves right back up. First turret, 3 kills in that bot lane. A nice roam by Pyrion. Obviously picks up 1 as well. And as you mentioned just before the replay break, 1,000 gold lead for Team Envy. Now, swapping lanes back around, using Apollo as this point of power. Looking to knock down top lane outer with the extra gold lead. Nice hook right there for Hackle. Oh, here comes the Q. Doesn't have the wall, though. Big running away for a bit more time. Ward over the wall spots him, but there's no CC to be had. What? Yeah, okay, there you go. It's like, wait, are you going to steal 3 gold from Altec? No, he doesn't. Okay.
Also, the turret would have most likely spotted that ward anyway, but they wanted to get rid of it extra fast.
Sweeper gives you 30 gold. No hook to be had just yet, but Apollo can still get some turret shots in. Difficulty being, though, with the quickness almost up. You don't know exactly when Big Hit's going to hit 6. And if he has quickness, you can't lantern out in time. So I think it's smart for Apollo to be a bit safer. Top lane is fighting yet again. Seraph battling someday, and that dodge zone making it difficult. Seraph wave clearing, playing pretty aggressively. Doesn't have a ton of wards, but I believe they've already tracked Shrimp to know that Lee Sin's top side, so for now he's safe.
Yeah, the momentum of this game definitely shifted, though. Hakuho has been a huge part of that, landing some very critical death sentences. Pyrion's actually looking for a roam, but Shrimp is hoping to catch him walking back into the lane. A lot of mind games going on here, off balance of information.
And it's 3 into the top side. Lee Sin maybe roaming back up and down. Pyrion went back to mid to hold the wave. They know he's not in threat range. But both Someday and Seraph can join the fight. And
collapse.
Oh, here comes that collapse. Yes, the knock up onto him. Can they get the damage on a key? And they're going to try. And the kill comes in first. They don't let the Shen arrive. Shrimp not going to get found out just yet. The chase is not likely to work. But the 1 kill picked up, but that is Someday without an ultimate.
Yeah, dissymmetry of information benefits Envy more so than it does Team Dignitas there, because Seraph makes the early roam up, and they burst all the way through the rank 1 Shen ultimate. On top of that, Big now kind of trapped in that middle lane to catch the minions. Means Envy's going to get yet another turret.
That's going to be 2-0 turret score as a result. Seraph able to walk up to the mid lane, then back down to catch the wave. That is lane pressure at work right there. When they saw Lee Sin topside, he's able to push well past Rebel of Tier 1, then all that time to go up and back down. So nothing lost to Seraph for the roam. That assist earned by his hard work and his wave management here. And even more for Team Envy now. They can grab this red buff as well. They're getting more and more and more. And Team Dignitas have gotten nothing since that triple kill at minute 4.
Yeah, just totally fallen off. And sometimes you can have a fall off after having such a good early game. You think, oh, our work here is done. We just got 3 kills. We win, and then you kind of forget to make plays, or you think you're farther ahead than you really are, because we talk about where the leads actually were. They weren't in the bottom lane, and that's what Envy has played around almost exclusively to get it back, aside from that gank we just saw in the top lane, where the top laners, sorry, in the mid lane from the top laners, where the top laners weren't impacted by the early game either in a large way. Seraph and Someday's gold pretty much equal.
And we're going to see as the plays continue, Team Dignitas finding something for themselves. Big gets rid of a blast cone, and Shrimp will be able to solo out this Cloud Drake. Help them a little bit here on this, but otherwise the Team Dignitas are going to lick their wounds and find their way out of a 3,000 gold hole. Maybe they can burrow back up here in this one and find themselves an opening play. This hasn't happened yet as Apollo throws out minions in the mid. I'm actually curious what Xayah builds look like after the nerfs to W's cooldown. W max second still seems to be the case. I think you should still always max Blade Caller, but is going for the increased attack speed still on the scaling there. They're going to grab a solo kill on Rift Herald. No one's around to steal it away, so no problem there. Smite going to be landed, and nice can go for the next turret picked up. The only outer left up is the mid lane. Maybe it goes there in the next few minutes. We'll see.
Yeah, Rift Herald for Cloud Drake taken. But Team Dignitas still in a pretty tough spot here, because they do want to scale up into the late game with the Cassiopeia Triss. But it is now Envy who has all the lane advantages, and that's where the Talia and the Jarvan can go into team fights and try and make some big plays.
Oh, yeah.
Because Team Dignitas is at that turret disadvantage, but they don't have a good way of actually sieging or getting to the turrets, because whenever they push up, a Jarvan could TP in behind them, a Talia could ride the wall into the fight, or Hakuo could get a death sentence and start the fight that way.
Right, as you mentioned, four of these members have great CC, but here comes the engage first. Team Dignitas finding their way in. They're going to get hit back on Hakuo, and he's no longer got any ways out, but he's got teammates to buy some time. Apollo wants in, but nothing on the Blade Caller. Two-man stun out of team buys some time, but they're still forced to run. And the wall in the way, big is low. Empyrean does get that kill picked up. The ult and the Q working together nicely. One more, 5 kills in a row for Envy now looking at this mid lane outer turret. They've only given up a Cloud Drake this game outside of that early triple kill. Rift Herald spawning as well near the mid lane.
Does this mean they want more? You generally want to save the slam for the next turret even. Loses a lot of its health just for a last hit on the turn take it anyway. I actually think that Rift Herald gives them pretty much nothing.
But not going to be a lot.
The team fight win's still huge. And Pyrion was a monster in that fight. It looked like Hakuo would die for one, but he didn't. He's got 2 points in his Dark Passage Lantern Shield, and apparently Team Dignitas doesn't have that much damage because there are 4 people around him.
Right.
Curve to the Colossus Shield also kicked in a pretty huge way when he landed the CC, but then Pyrion cut off the rest of the team and somehow picked a kill while staring at 4 people.
They just couldn't chase him down. The rest of the damage output was there. Envy was together, looking for the play, looking to Rift Herald near mid, and just the reinforcements were certainly enough. And it's once again Dignitas licking their wounds and still trying to find something to do with themselves. And it hasn't yet happened. 4,000 gold now, the difference between these teams. We'll see what can come in next for these guys. Envy, I mean, it's so funny too, because it's like, all right, Envy can't buy a good early game to save their lives. Always comeback wins, always comeback wins. Then they have an atrocious early game, and you're like, oh my gosh, this could be over before it starts. And yet they've actually found so much to do in the first 15 afterwards. We'll see if they can keep that one going. Still found a way to play double marksman. They put the Graves in the jungle this time around.
We'll have decent scaling into the mid and late game, but still going to be tough to deal with the Cassiopeia Trist if they don't continue to punish Team Dignitas here. And they've done a good job of it. I mean, getting down those outer 3 turrets. Now it's all about getting the vision control in the second half of the jungle and closing out a victory. This is actually the type of 17 to 20 minute gold lead that Envy would have in the spring split when they were the last place team and only got 3 match wins out of the whole split. But that was with Ninja, that was before Pyrion.
Blade Caller, they got the root in a shrimp. He's running out of health. The flash to the run. He's going away, but here comes the right. The hacks are in. They can't quite kill him. No kill just yet. Finally chase down into Pyrion, but now it's Apollo low on health. Lyra forced to run his way as well. And just barely the Xayah stays alive. The chase was in for Pyrion. They made it work. 2 birds of a feather looking pretty good on that one. Out they go. 5,000 gold up. Still, the advantage is just mounting for Team Envy, just barely not dying.
Yeah, that was payback for the level 2 fight in the jungle where it felt like Envy was just sitting around with such low amount of health, and Team Dignitas could never quite get that finisher, and now Lyra fully counter jungles. He puts his Tracker's Knife wards down. They have vision of Team Dignitas' jungle, and they might just want to go straight for Shen.
Let's see if they can make it happen. He's kind of alone on this one. Has TP, has flash, but he's slowed. He's going to run to the right. Going to get away from Seismic Shove, but there's just nowhere to actually go. Lyra getting his first kill of the game. Getting a lot of farm, and now joining the team fights a little bit more into this. 7-3 in kills.
Yeah, but I do want to commend Pyrion. He's been everywhere this game, and that's after his lane opponent got 2 early kills on the map, rushed a tier on the Cassiopeia, and was just right into that set of core items. But Pyrion still found ways to get out of lane, still found ways to make picks in other parts of the map, and now it's a 6,000 gold lead.
He's going to look to keep this pressure going. He's tanky enough and has the damage output. Top lane going to take a couple of hits. But Altec will just clear the wave away. Wow, what a great game so far from Team Envy. Bouncing back from a pretty substantial early deficit. And headway was there because of Hakuo and Apollo. Hakuo, I think, primarily, but Apollo certainly there to capitalize well. And they managed to push that lead somewhere else and put it somewhere else and put it somewhere else. And they have consistently played around that winning bot lane. Team Envy looking to keep it going. See what's next for them.
Yeah, first pick Thresh coming up big for Envy. We talked about the way the draft evolved throughout this series. Envy first wins with a strong tank line, Braum and double marksman, whereas Envy doesn't have much sustained damage. Game 2, Dignitas adapts with the Trist. Envy doesn't adapt. They try to run the same thing with worse tools. Game 3, they have the opportunity to potentially try the same thing again. Go completely different. First pick Thresh, early pick Talia before the second phase of bans. way more about action and forcing plays, and so far, it has worked out.
So far it has, but it's been a series of comebacks. Maybe another one will come through. Team Dignitas hoping to bounce back from a 6,000 gold deficit. Lira right now getting the solo Mountain Drake without any problems right now, and this is a pretty fast Mountain Drake team. Sorry, a pretty fast Baron team, so the Mountain Drake actually means quite a lot for this squad. Maybe a Baron sneak in their future.
Yeah, and it's also really important to not Cassiopeia's Mountain Drake.
Huge damage! Jeez, the two of them just deletes Keen in the mid lane. The Mountain Drake's gone. That was a complete 4 members on the map, and now they found another route here out of Shrimp. He's going to safeguard, but is it going to be to safety? Trying to get away from this one. Looks like the rebuff's not going to be enough to keep him down. He gets away. But a kill and a Drake picked up for Envy means even more. 7,000 gold up.
Green again with the use of the Weaver's Wall, creating a kill for them. Watching where Keen is right now. Talia says, you shall not pass this area. It is a 2v1, no one can help them. Very nice kill by Envy.
Yeah, smart by Apollo as well. Turned back away from Cassiopeia, made sure he didn't get stunned away with the Petrifying Gaze. Wouldn't have stopped it, but still smart to do it right here. Now again, pressure in the mid lane, lots of damage to be able to double marksman here. Apollo and Lyra just chunking it down, Empyrean going for poke. Envy still looking pretty sharp right now, more picked up. And since that triple kill, all Team Dignitas have gotten is a single Cloud Drake and nothing else picked up for them. Just a much better controlled map here for Team Envy.
Yeah, now imagine this game
without that
don't get
kill.
that, or if it goes to Envy, how ugly would it be? You still have that inkling of hope that they can scale up, but it's getting pretty dire. It's 8,000 gold 21 minutes in. This is turning into a massive lead for Envy, and they don't seem to be slowing down.
They're really not. They're doing a great job of this one now. Dignitas had won in like 26-30. You know, Summer Games done quick started today, and Envy maybe hoping to be part of the showcase. See if they can do what Dignitas did earlier onto this one, and see what comes through. Is we'll hope that their shot calling can continue up. New coaching staff this split, and hoping that they can turn around some of their difficulties from before. Certainly, it's a better split than last time. Empyrean in the mid lane certainly has helped quite a bit here, and very certainly Envy are not the last place team they were in spring, hoping that they can at least make playoffs and maybe make some kind of a stellar run by the end of it all.
Hoping to find another Talia alt.
Finds one hook, not going to land just yet, but they will kill a ward away. Jukes away from Shrimp, Lyra waiting as well. Participates in the ward kill.
I actually wonder what Team Dignitas plans to get back into this one without the vision control there. Got to start by landing her skill shots.
It actually could have been a pick on Thresh, maybe. I know it wasn't good vision, but he was certainly able to be grand entranced into Shrimp going for a ward hop, into Keen showing up as well. I feel like that's what you need Dignitas to do, actually, is say, we're losing. If there's no one there, we get a pick, and maybe it comes back. If there is someone there, we were losing anyway. I think there was a small opportunity they probably could have gone for. And unfortunately, it wasn't picked on. Kyrian gets spotted, though. This could be an end. Nope. Lands into safety. And again, Shrimp not going for the play just yet. Hook! Oh! Nope. Good smite. Shrimp gets the red.
Yeah, also note the Vamp Scepter on Seraph. So that split push battle, which sometimes goes over to Shen because he's so tanky. Seraph's just going to set his full health. He's actually probably going Ravenous Hydra instead of Titanic Hydra, which is often the build when you synergize it with Gargoyle Stoneplate for massive amounts of tankiness. But that's actually not the game that Envy are playing right now. They're all about splitting up the map and going for those collapses with Talia. So for now it's good, but if it gets super late, he might come back to regret that.
Because they don't have any tanks really, it's just the Thresh for that, and it's kind of difficult to do. They're going to go for the quick Baron rush, and there's no vision. Quick try use, but is it going to be enough? The far side orb now on cooldown. Alta getting a lot of damage here, and Empyrean wants to chase in, but yeah, he pushed him away. Why rockets him after the ult? The wall's not quite going to block off one. He's close enough. Can he get it? Not quite. Lyra grabs it, and actually the Q kills off Shrimp. He dives into his doom, but I can't blame him for the attempt. Sorry, Shrimp, that was a little bit too late for him.
Oh man, Empyrean just took him so low before that fight. He only had about 100 health left, so Lyra gets a kill accidentally while securing the Baron. 10,500 gold now. They suffer no casualties, even if that looked a little scary at times. Need to go spend some of that gold.
Yeah, look at the aggressive build. Like the Lyra going rapid fire cannon, which I honestly like a lot for a snowballing build to get turret damage easier. But yeah, we can watch this again.
Yeah, so yeah, the wall doesn't quite get trimmed, so he's thinking, man, I can get it.
Pounces back.
I can get it. Unlucky right there. Big.
Still shot calling.
Still trying to shot call. You have to remain vocal in games like this, but it is falling out of favor very quickly. I've seen the rapid fire cannon before on the Lyra. My working theory is that because he's Storm Raider Surge, he's shooting from longer range, getting the move speed, and then allowing that to help him stay close. It's also much better for taking down turrets, because that first shot will be a lot more powerful. Something that Grades can sometimes struggle with when they're in siege situations.
Yeah.
You're so used to the Phantom Dancer, right? Because of the damage reduction in 1v1s, but almost everyone going rapid fire cannon or static shiv nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, Shiv just, as raw stats, is the best in my true opinion here. But yeah, I think if you're snowballing, you're just trying to close the game out. Rapid fire knocks the turrets down and makes it easier to close the game out. And we'll see if this matters much in this one. Regardless, it's a huge lead for Envy. Kind of regardless of what you build, he could build a death catch and probably still win here. So we'll see what it comes into this one. Hex Drinker is done, helping him against Keen. And now Purin is back up in this top side of the map, and that turret likely to fall here with no attempts to do anything about it. Magic Pen does work against turrets, and his AP turns into magic damage against hitting that thing, so slightly faster clear for him as well as Someday forced to kite back. And you can see Seraph really chunking down his health bar. Gold leads at work to be clear. There we go, bot lane tier 2 is gone. 6 turrets to 0, 9 kills to 3. Envy all but closing out this game. The Baron buff is on.
Yeah, and I'm still a little shocked at the way this game has played out.
Me too.
When Team Dignitas gets those 3 kills and had effectively held the momentum for the majority of the series. They won most of game 1. They ended game 2 in 26 minutes with a pentakill. And you think, all right, this is where Envy rolls over and Team Dignitas returns to their strong form they saw from the start of the split. And the exact opposite has happened. Envy just turned it on after being down 3 kills, and they're continuing to play clean. Look at this turret.
They got off the reinforcements. Actually, Big has nowhere to go without using a skill, and he won't even have to, though. But in him, turret's dead. There's the trauma. Free to petrifying gaze. This is the fight they need to kick back as they're all tickets one. They've taken down one now. How can Lyra kite back? And he's not going to. All take us another kill and knocks Seraph right back into the team. The Rock up to find more. They're going to get their 3rd kill as Seraph kites away, and it's not going to come in. That was absolutely huge from Big. LCS Big plays.
Keeps talking even when they're down 11,000 gold and makes the massive initiation into Keen's ult flash. And just for some scope of how far behind they are, they're still down 11,500 gold after picking up multiple bounties. But watch this fight one more time. This is the type of fight they need when they have this deficit. Catches basically the whole team in there. Then they also throw down the Cassiopeia Miasma on top of it, so no one can flash out of the Wombo combo that they pull off. And then they just get the 3rd kill on a Seraph cleanup.
Shout out Shrimp as well. Got probably 2 or 3 knocked up off his kick flash that delivered it. One of the champions. So, I mean, every single person had done such a good job of capitalizing on that play out of Big. Reward is a Mountain Drake, which is the worst when you're losing, but at least it's something taken off the table. Maybe it means more later on for Team Dignitas, but is it going to be enough for Signs of Life? They know they can win fights. The goal does get closer. There is a long way to go now.
Yeah, but also with builds like the Ravenous Hydra from Seraph or even the Rapid Fire Cannon from Lyra, they are building items that are trying to win now, so the scaling still becomes pretty favorable for Team Dignitas.
Sure. Good for Hakmo. Langton a bit far away, but he's going to find Shrimp, and the damage is there. Rapid Fire Cannon at work, to be honest. The shot came across the cutoff. The knock-up there on Nakin. They're going to buy some time here, and Seraph 1v1 with Altec pushed around, though, and the kill's going to come in 1-for-1. Sorry, double kill now for Lyra, and actually, there will be no trade, just the 3 picked off. So it looks like the gold lead gonna work just fine. Envy looking to close out here.
Yeah, they're still massively far ahead in the game, even if that one fight goes really in the favor of Team Dignitas. Not too many minions, but they have an open inhib in the mid lane, and they're going for 2.
Going for it, not gonna knock it down just yet, but it's to the mid lane maybe. Yeah, open inhibitor, so that one's gonna fall. Wave is still there for a few more seconds. The top lane turret will drop as well. 8-0 in turrets. And as you mentioned, yeah, it's double inhibitor down. Nice juke, gets away from the hook. Respawn's coming in now. It should be a retreat for Team Envy.
And probably a bit of a reset after they pick up that red buff with Baron in 1 minute 50 seconds, and Inferno Blade still not on the respawn timer yet. And I have to say, this series, Freak, we have been on point with caster curses. In game 1, we commended Team Dignitas for doing all their Barons right. They throw at Baron, they lose the game. And here, we talk about how amazing the game is that Envy's played perfectly after getting the first 3 kills, and they lose a team fight while 15,000 gold ahead.
Yes.
It was good.
I know. At least I was able to say, hey, Dig have a long way to go, and then lost a fight. So, you know, that was there. I got that one at least correctly predicted. But absolutely, we'll see what happens. By the way, I like the effect on Cosmic Zaya's cape. Right, you see like the stars behind it? It's a sweet effect.
That's it? There's no...
I mean, look, it's no Pulse Fire Caitlyn. I'm sorry, chat. It's
Yeah.
it's
like,
not a legendary.
And then 5 hats come out of the game. It's amazing. I'm like, really?
No, sadly, we are not TF2 here. The hats, not in this game. Look, we need a legendary skin coming out. All right. Where's the Elementalist Lux? That's what I need. Actually, did you know? I'm pretty sure there's like a maximum memory allocation per skin that like games load on time.
Yep.
And apparently it's very difficult for the people to make Elementalist Lux because you have so many different forms and whatnot. The memory allocation, you can't go overboard, so they had to find clever ways to fit the different forms in their footprint.
Yeah, the engineering team wrote this like fascinating article about ways they kind of made 10 skins only take up the space of 1 skin. And I don't remember it exactly, but they might be able to use that similar tech to make the cooler skins that don't have terrible load times. The game has come so far. I mean, I was around in the days where, you know, sometimes the game would forget to preload Jarvan's flag, and when he cast it at the start of the game, everyone would hitch because everyone had to load the flag at the same time. Speaking of which, though, here comes the
Jarvan flag. The Cataclysm in, and Big is going to be deleted at the start. More damage coming out from everyone else by the Storm into the Blade Collar, and Dukeen is dead. A double kill for Apollo. He needs 3 more to match Altec's mark, and it's not going to happen as Dignitas are running away. Lear wants damage. Flash Q. Auto, 1 more will get him. Yes, he does. Storm Raiders will work there. And it's now on to the next. Is Team Envy going to close this one out? Going to make the comeback win in Game 1 and the comeback win in the series. Making it happen for them. 16-6 in kills. A pretty beautiful Game 3. Took them 31.5 minutes, and Envy will improve to 5-5. They'll bring Dignitas down to the level. It's a tie for 5th place here in the middle of the standings. Congratulations, Team Envy.
And Envy moves into the break at 5-5. 2 more match wins than they had in the entirety of the spring split. And I'm still a little bit flabbergasted about the way this series progressed, because Envy seemed like they never had a grasp on the games, especially in games 1 and 2. Felt like the game 3 was a formality for Team Dignitas to take the match win, especially after the first 3 kills fell to Dig. But that's not what Envy had in store.
No, they had Hakuho in store, and he cashed in so well. 3 kills top side of the map means bot lane is unaffected, and hook after hook into the setup. 2 of those kills were just for the 2 of them. The 1 came in because Pyrian roamed down, but the 1 single lane for Team Envy made it happen right there, and that was a thing of beauty, absolutely. And off the back of Apollo and Hakuho, the rest of the team was able to make it go through. Big smiles out of Apollo. Hakuho put in a ton of work himself, and I can only say I'm impressed with the 2 of them.
Yeah, big carry performances by those guys. I also want to make sure we're appreciating Pyrian's Taliyah play, because that is a champion he's found a lot of success on this split, and you really see why. He takes control of the map on that champion, and that is something Envy just wasn't able to do in the spring split with Ninja on any of his champions. They could get the early leads, but they could never take control of the jungle and force the fights, and most of the picks there in the late game were Taliyah walls, as well as Hakuho coming in with those death sentences. So once again, the Taliyah is a priority ban against this Envy team, because they've now moved to 5-5, and they knocked Dignitas down to 5-5 while they're at it.
It was really cool seeing Pyrian play that champion, and I like seeing champions like Taliyah right now in the game, because they're not so prolific. You see them every game. It's a flavor pick. It's, I like this champion, I'm good at it. And the ultimate's so cool because it's not just, well, I shockwaved in a team fight. I pressed R and dealt damage. You have to set up the play. You have to be smart about it. It literally does no damage. It's like, you have to see coming in like, yes, this is a good fight for us. We're going to cut them off. I'm going to lead it in time they can't get away from the wall. So the timing and the angle and the pre-positioning, all those are relevant. So it's a highly, highly, highly skilled mechanic. And then when it goes right, you're like, oh, you were powerless. Sorry, I outplayed you 10 seconds before you even saw it coming in. Great stuff out of him. I love seeing plays like that.
Yeah, and then the rest of Envy did also hold it together, right? Sarah fell behind in the early game, switched up his build, and oftentimes I don't agree with Sarah's build, but in this time I actually did, right? The Ravenous Hydra with the Black Cleaver instead of Titanic allowed him to keep the split push against Someday, make it so Someday wasn't a factor in this game, even though some kills went his way early. And overall, just props to Envy for staying positive.
Absolutely agree. Props to Envy for a great win, 2-1 for them. And now to hear what it took to get that win, let's send it on to Pastry and Envy support player.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Hako after a grueling 3-game series. I have to ask, what's it like playing in that sort of game? I mean, you yourself in that final game just made so many plays. What's happening in those games, in those comps, to kind of pull you guys through the series?
Well, Our early game was pretty good, so I think for the last game we knew if we played fast after getting ahead, we'd win because they had 2 scaling. They had Tristana and Casio, so if the game goes like 40, 50 minutes like it did like yesterday, or for like most of our games actually, then we lose. But I think we played like fast enough and got ahead with our comp, so there wasn't like too many issues.
And I feel like, well, it has been an up and down season for the team so far. You and Apollo have actually had an excellent pairing pretty consistently throughout the season. How do you kind of rate your performance as a duo lane? Because from my perspective, it seems like things are going very well.
I think as a duo, we're top 3, I would say. I'm not going to say like #1 since we still have like some issues, but I think in terms of like laning, we're really strong. And then if we can make more team plays with it, I think we'll be better.
And I mean, has the metagame shift kind of helped you there as far as making team plays? Obviously, you are known for your Zara. You love to get aggressive in lane, but some of these more team fight-oriented playmaking champs, I mean, Bard, not as much play, but certainly a champion like Rakan. Are you happy with this metagame? What do you kind of think about the current state of supports?
I think you can play any support right now, so the meta is like, it's fun, I guess. I like last splits meta more just because I like playing Karma at Zyra, but it's like harder to pick those now. Usually it's just Thresh, which is still fun, but like easier to counterpick, I guess.
All right, and so obviously a lot to digest. There will be a break week as well for you guys. What's the general mood like for Envy here currently in the team? And what do your preparations look like in that break week? What are the plans for the team?
We like know that we're like playing kind of bad late game, I guess. We're not like taking advantage of our early leads. So we're just going to try and work on that. We're scrimming for the entire break, so should be good for us.
Well, thank you very much for the interview, and thank you, and congratulations again on the win in the series. Hako, ladies and gentlemen, from Envy, but we are going to throw it back to Dash and Monksy to wrap up the day.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. A little technical difficulties here. I love, though, Jat's comment on this series in that Envy coming away with the victory in a series in which Dignitas felt like they had control for a majority of the game time.
Yeah, I mean, even this game started disastrously a little bit for Envy. The one thing that they got right a little bit was their draft this time around. We've been talking, you know, the Corki and Zaya make some sense in other instances, but when they leave up the Talia and you're able to grab it with Pyrion, you need to get that thing right away. First game, they didn't take it in the first rotation, gets banned away. Second game, it's banned in the first time that Dig can do it because they're blue side this time around. They're freed up with more bans. Now back on red side, this felt kind of like a series that Envy wins just because Dig has double red side here and they're able to adapt and grab that Talia in the first rotation.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, and the Talia for Pyrion, let's take a moment, full stop, and talk about this guy and this champion. Where would you rank him among mid lane? Like, let's go to the tier list for a moment.
Oh, yes.
All right. Pyrion as a mid laner in the NALCS. Just overall, how good is he?
You know, middle of the pack, maybe a little bit lower down. He doesn't dominate laning phase. He does all right with the champions that he picks. He's a team player, roams around that kind of thing.
Okay, now, Pyrion's Talia. How good is his Talia? Just overall his Talia.
Probably top 3 in the LCS, I'd say. You know, I think other people play the champion better in terms of their laning phase, being able to get leads. It is a champion that can actually all in a little bit if you get really aggressive with it. So people like Bjergsen tend to lane with it a little bit better and maybe are able to find their own individual plays better than Pyrion.
Pyrion's Talia walls.
Number one.
Number one.
Hands down, number one. It's so crazy that with a champion like this, you can say, all right, the player is a decent player. On that champion, he's one of the better players on that champion. But then his walls, every single time he does it, is pretty much perfect and does exactly what it's trying to accomplish. Cut out and escape for a team fight, nails it. Perfect. Trying to keep people off a turret, nails it. The one mistake, the worst Talia ult he had this game was probably the one at Baron, where he shot it a half second too late and Shrimp still got around it at 200 health, so it didn't really matter. Like, every time this guy Talia ults, it nets something positives for his team, and that's why it's such an important pick for Envy.
Exactly, and this is why we have seen teams at times target it out in that ban phase to keep him off of the pick, but sometimes you've got to make a decision what's going to get through, and when it falls in his hands, he seems to find great success with it. Of course, our issue with Pyrion has always been, okay, you've got fairly, you know, a solid mastery of this champion. We need to see you extend that mastery to more.
And that's why, like, this is a nice win to get for Envy because you're pushing for playoffs, you'll take this W, but in terms of a growth win, it's not really there. We already knew that, you know, Pyrion's Talia was amazing, and it was like the Corki pick that we saw earlier on in the series not working out for them. And that's kind of where you want to see them grow into, is being able to win with that double AD carry style.
But Now let's talk about the game here, because as you talked about it, Dignitas looked like they had full control of this game with 3 early kills coming across in the first 3.5 minutes of the game off of a very intelligent jungle path here from Shrimp, having seen this ward get placed.
This is a very, very standard ward, so a lot of people have planned out kind of ways to abuse this ward, not just avoid it. So early on, Shrimp sees it go down at the Raptor camp. This means if I start Raptors, they know I start here. Not the end of the world, considering it's kind of assumed for the most part anyways, but instead starts on red buff to avoid that. And with that red buff start, you actually open up so many more paths than you would have if you started there, because you can wrap around and go down to the blue side of your blue buff and work on that. Instead, what he does with this is he takes the red buff and goes for a topside invade really early on to steal away a blue buff, which is going to eventually lead into a gank.
Right, just barely sneaking past that vision there to get to this red buff. Envy essentially in this case has now baited themselves into thinking they're safe on the top side, because a normal jungle path would show him on this Raptor ward at least in the next minute or so, letting them know, okay, do we need to play down to our bottom side, or is he going to swing to the bottom side from his Raptors and we need to play to our top side? Yeah. This way he avoids all vision, gets a nice wraparound on Pyrion to start things off.
And this kind of super baits Envy as well, given the fact that Lyra had made his way up to the top side here. He was trying to pressure around the top turret, and it leads to Pyrion pulling his whole team right towards this kind of 3v3 skirmish that Dignitas just outplays for the most part, given the fact that they started with a huge chunk onto Pyrion from that smart pathing.
All right, so 3 kills go over to Dignitas in 3.5 minutes. They've got like a K.5 gold lead. Once again, as Jap mentioned, you're looking at this and you say, okay, the Dignitas from the beginning of the split, who was super dominant and in the conversation for the best team in the league, should be able to close this out. And yet, Envy finds their way back in at 9 minutes. 2-0 in the bot lane with a few roams down. Let's take a look at it.
And that's the thing, is that this whole play kind of happened around the top side. So where are you still strong relatively for Envy? In the bot lane. Hakuho lands some huge hooks here. They get the early kill right away onto Altec. He tries to go for a cute insect here. Is able to live for a little bit. There's Pyrion with that excellent roam, meeting up with the rest of the team, getting that kill. And then this is kind of how they find their way back in the game, is off these bot lane plays. They eventually break the first turret, and Dignitas, despite winning on that top side of the map, it is a little hard for a Jarvan to really start bullying, or excuse me, a Shen to start bullying a Jarvan. Similarly, a Cassio doesn't just instantly start pushing the wave. Talia still has really strong wave clear overall, so he's able to get on the map and keep influencing.
And that's where we get to the place in the game where Envy is able to utilize that Talia wall in order to take their objectives. And they seem to have a very solid understanding, not only Pyrion himself, in terms of you know, putting out the perfect wall, but the team also understands how to use the wall to then take a turret and pressure as much as they need to.
It probably does come down to Pyrion, though, because what happens when you understand a champion that well is you're able to explain it to your team.
Right.
So you're able to say, I'm going to wall on the next wave, back off, wait for them to you know, step up for the clear, and then we can either chunk them under turret or blah, blah, blah. And you're able to break down for your team exactly what you want out of everyone to make the play succeed.
Exactly, and that's what you need at the highest level of pro play, right? From all of your laners. Hey, I can play Jarvan at the highest possible level, so I should be able to tell my team how to play with Jarvan and against Jarvan at the highest possible level. Same thing applies across the entire champion spectrum. And now, hey, we're tooting, Pyrion's horn here quite a bit with the Talia, but player of the game is actually going to go over to Hakuho, because he doesn't even have the opportunity to show his skills on Talia if those hooks aren't landing to get them back into the game.
For sure. I mean, this was a game where Dignitas, if Hakuho doesn't start turning things around, they continue to scale for the late game. They have the Cassio and Trist. Those are 2 hyper-scaling champions. We saw game 2 what happens when they had Ori Trist. I mean, similar story potentially this time around, but Hakuho takes control of the game, lands some monster hooks. He had 100% kill participation for the first 20 minutes of the game or something. And
yeah, 88 at the end there, having 15 of the team's kills participated in and deathless on the Thresh. And that's crazy to me because, again, he has to take those death sentences and actually join the fight. So he's right in the thick of it all.
And there's no defense on this team.
Not
there's not an Ori to shield him after he goes in. Like, hey, dude, you're
good. You have a Graves jungle. Yeah. I mean, your tankiest member is the Jarvan coming in with a Ravenous Hydra. He didn't even build tank.
Right, so it was just great play out of Hakuho, always finding those hooks and really... it was a huge takeaway, too, because they invested their first pick on this Thresh and were basically like, all right, Hakuho, you're going to need to show that this was worth the takeaway.
Right, so both teams actually moving to 5-5. Dignitas with the loss and Envy with the win. And it's important to note that while Dignitas is on a little bit of a downswing here, because at one point they were 5-1, now down to 5-5, they've got some stuff to turn around. Envy has 2 more match wins than they had in all of spring split.
And I believed in them at the start of the day. Jat was talking about Echo Fox. They lost. I believed in Envy. They win.
There it is. If Mark believes in you, you win. I guess that's the case. Do you believe in me?
Yeah,
that
totally.
Was not convincing at all. Not at all. As we close out the weekend, let's go ahead and take a look at who stood out individually throughout all of our matches. Wild Turtle showed up huge for FlyQuest, picking up every player of the game for his team this week, while rookie Mike Young nabbed 3 in week 5. Then Bjergsen, Froggen, and Sneaky each grabbed 2 POGs. And if we look at the split-wide standings, things are neck and neck. Froggen, Sneaky, Wild Turtle, and Xmithy all have 6 player of the games to their names. Now, notably, Mike Young already has 5 accolades under his belt in just 3 weeks of play. So compare that to the rest of P1, who share 4 POGs between all of them. I mean, this guy's on fire in his rookie split.
Yeah, especially if you look at this last week, you saw, FlyQuest and P1 leading the charts in player of the games. Not something you're used to seeing.
Right.
There's no TSM up there, C9, Immortals. Not all of them had kind of down weeks, and it was the bottom teams getting a lot of upsets. So kind of flipping the tables there.
Very much so. But now it's time to take Now it's time to take a look at the teams and how they ended their week in the standings. After the win today, Counterlogic Gaming takes sole ownership of first, dropping Immortals to second place alongside TSM, while FlyQuest and Phoenix 1 promote to 8th in the wake of their first 2-0 weekend of the split. Now, in just a few days, Rift Rivals will be in full swing as TSM, Cloud9, and Phoenix 1 defend the pride of North America. It all starts on Wednesday, July 5th, as Spring Split champions from each region face off in TSM versus G2 Esports. Following that, Phoenix 1 take on Fnatic, then 4 more games for a full day of action. The North American LCS returns for week 6 of the summer split on Friday, July 14th. Things will kick off with Counterlogic Gaming versus FlyQuest, and then Immortals take to the stage opposite Echo Fox. Now, you took to Twitter to call out your big plays of the weekend, and we thought it was best to close out week 5 with some of our favorites, brought to you by Acer. First up, Air Exis Kai was cheering from home when Mike Young held off Immortals at Baron. Mike Young is legitimately 1v9ing this game. Holy mother of P1. Let's take a look.
Dig didn't even get to spend that goal to Mike Young. Gonna have to be the real hero.
He's been good. Has he been amazing? He might be able to kill Xmithy here. What is he doing?
Execute!
Mike Young!
Mike Young looking to steal away the Baron, but he's getting chunked. He has to be careful
He
with
needs
it.
to buy time because this is going to chunk them. He's going to kill Ole!
Oh, yes, he's going to get the kill. Mike Young, the savior!
They have to try to make a play. That's it.
Don't try. Don't play, Rex don't flash.
Rex don't flash too.
Nice.
I can come on in 8 seconds. I can get there. Slow. 2 seconds. I'm coming. Fuck.
Nice.
Oh shit. I'm coming.
Nice. Bad. Go Nash. Go Nash. Plan to go Nash. It's fine.
I love every single replay that we see Arrow's comms in. He's always just like slow to his entire team. No matter what the situation, slow it down.
The whole team was yelling it though, so I don't know how much 5 people yelling at you to go slowly actually makes you play it slower.
I gotta respect though, again, in your rookie split, to go up against that squad, up against Xmithy of all people, who very few people have been able to deal with around Baron. I mean, Xmithy's been on fire in that regard. For him to have the poise to step up in that moment, get 2 kills, stop the Baron, save the game was pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's kind of making waves right now in the NALCS, and it's from plays like that, these kind of individual outplays that bring the game heavily into P1's favor.
Now, next up, Tosaka Shiro, that is a mouthful, was wondering what was going through Sneaky's mind when he got the Quadra. Let's take a look.
There goes Ray.
Ray into the back line, looking to start this one off, finish this game if he can. The pick comes out. Ray now retreating. Nexus turret number 1 down. Sneaky putting those shots into number 2. Bjergsen coming in, trying to stop these guys if he can. Shot comes out. 4th shot making its way on the Smoothie. Package delivery, but now Bjergsen's going to be in some trouble. Sneaky going point blank. Takes him down. Dominating for the AD carry. As now Haunter's going to be dismounted. C9 looking to win this fight and win this game. A double kill for Sneaky. Looking to make it a triple. Biofrost going to be taken down next. Sneaky still keeping himself away. Shielded up. Staying alive. Spin Scarin. Cannot do anything. Quadra kill for Sneaky.
Corky. I'm 1 HP.
Leave me to die, maybe.
Help me. I don't have anything. Come jump.
I'm not
heal. Nice, we can end. Oh, Alice.
Maybe.
Oh, push back.
Okay,
Nice. Hit this guy.
I don't have anything.
Hit this guy. Petake. Keep Petake.
Give me the fucking penta.
Penta.
Yeah.
I can take.
I can't get it. It's fine.
He's no play. He's clearly no play.
No.
No, end game.
This one game, Milord. Okay. It's good. It's really good. Oh, these guys. Penta.
I got it.
It's fine.
There's a guy in the audience that I could see the visible anguish on his face as that Nexus exploded, and I feel you, guy in the audience. We all wanted to see that Penta.
I mean, Ray's a good
Yeah,
teammate.
Ray was down with it. He was like, hey, this guy, keep looking at him. He might mess up here. And he turned.
He was looking for it. The rest of them not having it. We're taking the victory here over TSM. Next up, Alltech felt the need to one-up Sneaky as Swift Shadow has something to report. Breaking news, Alltech is now A tier on Freaks ADC tier list. Let's take a look.
It's Envy who've lost one. The re-engage now for Sunday. A double kill for Alltech. He wants them all. He's going to find a third. Can they get him a fourth? The flash forward, the bear trap. Apollo should be going down in flames.
Corky's coming out. Periods watch.
Someday. Help your team. He goes for the fight. It's Alltech for the Penta. And he gets it on the Tristana.
Dino.
Kenny, go, Kenny. Nice.
Pentakill, go. Dino. Pentakill. Dino, Nor. Yes, flash.
Let's go.
Push down mid. Corky. Watch Corky. Don't need to poke.
Yo, I have nothing.
What the fuck? Pentakill. Oh, nice.
Oh,
Nice penta.
Nice guy, Pyrian. Coming out of base. He didn't need to do that. Just like Doublelift, but this time actually gives
He
away
was
the Penta.
going for the defend. You have to
Yeah.
respect the attempt to defend the base. I don't think his purpose was to go out there.
No, he was 100% just being a bro. Like, yeah, you can have it. I'll pretend like I'm trying to do something else.
The biggest of bros. But hey, Envy got the victories, the series victories. So small price to pay on the pentakill there. After that, Crash points out Acadian's sneaky first blood against Moon. The hidden Rek'Sai is the deadliest. GG, Acadian.
Moon's got vision, but he's got lower health.
May have to blow the flash here. He's definitely going to have to with the red buff. Proc now does not go over. Smart choice.
This is a little bit rough for Moon to go to the Raptors. I have to say, he doesn't have much health, and he has no smite. Oh, he's going to actually die! Yeah, it was so... Oh, my... There's nothing to say there.
I found Rengar. Okay, do you want me? I'm going to go take his flash.
Tom Catch is moving. I'm moving too.
I'm coming. He flash.
Nice.
I'm taking his jungle.
Okay. Just tell us what you want.
I don't need anything. He's gonna go to his Raptors now. I want to go here. Okay. Oh, what?
Nice. What?
He died to Raptors, bro.
I see.
Okay, I'm gonna go take his Raptors.
I love that. He's like, oh, he died to Raptors.
I don't need anything, bro. I'm just going to take his jungle. He's going to go to Raptors. Wait a second. Did I just get a kill?
Yeah, he died to Raptors. I guess I'll take those two.
I'll take it. Acadian, next level first blooding. Spring Split, First Blood King wasn't enough for him. He's got to make a statement coming back here in Summer Split.
It's hard to beat him in the jungle when the entire jungle is on his team too.
That's a good point, man. Did he recruit those Raptors? I don't know. Either way, nice to see that out of him. And actually, it's a good insight into Echo Fox's comms there in terms of immediately looking for the flash. That was actually just kind of a nice little insight into what they sound like in game.
And as well as the fact that they're playing around Acadian. They're saying, well, what do you need to keep taking his jungle away? You heard that kind of communication coming in. It's like, I'm fine. And they're obviously heavily focused around Acadian in the early game.
Alrighty, well, that brings us to the end of the day. So tune in after the show for NALCS tonight, where myself, Azael, and Zyrene break down the week and the NALCS as a whole, moving into Rift Rivals. But for now, myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week in Berlin for Rift Rivals.
Clayton Captain Flowers reigns, and he may not be able to conjure hats out of a magical portal, but he still casts some mean series. Isaac Azael Cummings Bentley right next to me, and apparently I wasn't even correct about my initial assumptions.
All right, what's that?
All right, let's watch. Oh, she got a pirate hat that time.
I had no idea. The first time they met up, TSM 2-0'd him. Cloud9 wants revenge.
The impact is dead first. Jensen and Sneaky in full retreat. The curtain call opens up, and execution is coming from downtown. Oh, a flash into the auto attack, and Jensen returns the favor from game number 1. Contract's making his way down. Hook lane, though, buys a lot of extra damage. The snowball for first blood. So hard to do. Bjergsen going to be brought low, almost taken down. Contract's knocked away, and Bjergsen is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, TSM will fall, and Cloud9 will be the ones to take them down. Started all off, special jumps in. Flash ulti goes a 3-man knockover as Mike Young gonna take out Priyan to start. Apollo gets absolutely taken down. Chase the kills on the backside of the map. Shutdown lands as Ryu falls. Seraph gonna get the double kills. He gets also went down Mike Young. P1, another victory and such a battle versus Envy.
And here we go, the Rek'Sai getting another force up. He's been forced to run away with the damage looking across the... Oh! the nade and void on void crime. And you can hear the crowd cheering for the team that is 1-2-0, taking down North America's #1 TSM.
He's ready to take down the stragglers, and he's gonna hop over the wall. He says, "Ting me," over to Smoothie now, looking for the triple kill. Smoothie blows up.
They're both on top again.
What a shockwave. Sneaky and Jensen once again. They are finding their mark, and Darshan goes in with a taunt, even played out. They have the damage. Smoothie's gonna get dropped. His contract falls down. Counterlogic Gaming, they will go up against Cloud9 again, and they will take a second victory.
Ultimate there as Moon actually stays alive and high. That took down from FlyQuest gonna go for high. Just out of Altac. 4 kills as Kane, the only one left. High, barely gonna live. He grabs the triple, and that's the ace for FlyQuest Bulls. TP's back down to end the game.
Back to the casters to get us in the game. Enjoy.
Welcome back to the North American LCS, and welcome back to Aiden's Iron Moon. Excellent segment there.
Thank you, man.
Over some of the jungle pop.
And so fast to change my clothes, too.
The teams are readying up on stage for round 2 between Immortals and Phoenix1. Just going to get killed. Good stun there from Ziggy. He's a little too tanky to try and get a kill. Like Smithy trying to tunnel out of the way, but Mike rits him down. Mike Young going to have to be the real hero.
He's been good. Has he been amazing? He might be able to kill Smithy here. What is he doing?
Kill him, execute! Chunked, he has to be careful
He
with
needs
it.
to buy time because this is going to chunk them. He's going to kill Ole.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get the kill. Mike Young, the savior!
Mike Young stops the Baron, though. He just saved Phoenix1.
He wants them all. He's going to find a third. Can they get him a fourth? The flash forward, the bear trap. Apollo should be going down in flames. And it's a fourth pickup there for Altec the Quadra, and it's all about Pyrian. Do you want to give it over? It's Altec for the Penta, and he gets it on the Tristana! Slide the Cataclysm in, and Big is going to be deleted at the start. More damage coming out for everyone else by the Storm into the Blade Color, and Duquesne is dead. A double kill for Apollo. Envy will improve to 5-5. Congratulations, Team Envy.